Yoga as a practice has a very old history, especially Raj Yoga that started almost 72 generations before Raja Dasharath. Raj Yoga is considered to be as the kingly thing amongst all yogas. That's why Raja Yoga. And what is the Raja in a human life? It's the mind. It rules the human life. So regulating this mind, regulating our life in such a way that as an individual one flourishes, and as individual flourishes, each member in the family flourishes, community flourishes, nation flourishes, and as a result, if everyone on this planet did practice, then there is a pause of peace and prosperity, age-old dream of Indian tradition, civilization. For that we have to really understand what yoga means. Yajyuti iti yoga, one that joins, one that unites. And what is it that we are trying to unite? My lower consciousness with higher consciousness. My individual self with cosmic self. Similarly, the purpose of religion is exactly the same. Religion. Legion is a word from legare, to join, and relegare means to rejoin. Same purpose. When we do practice asanas and pranayams, it's wonderful. But if you remain disturbed at mental level, not centered within yourself, then asanas and pranayamas will not yield much. Dhyanmayi banke, while remaining meditative, if we practice pranayamas in a meditative state, while remaining in meditative state, if we can do asanas, it fulfills many requirements of a bhakta, of a devotee. For example, in Sufi tradition, in Islam, as well as in our bhakti traditions, these are parallel lines where zikra and fikra, prem and restlessness towards God, they are born automatically. Zikra and fikra. Constant remembrance is an outcome of a meditative state. Right after meditation, when we enter into the world, doing all kinds of things, it easily gets destroyed and mutated to our disadvantage. But if we remain meditative post-meditation in all our actions, then it becomes very effective. Yoga has many approaches. One can approach through Hatha Yoga, can approach through Bhakti Yoga, can approach through Raj Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, you name it. There are so many variations, approaches of yoga. The main thing, as a result of it, the goal is this, to arrive at a union. And how are we going to arrive at a union? For that, again we have to revisit the definition of yoga from Patanjali's perspective. He says, Yogaha iti chitta vritti nirodha. It is not just regulation of the mind, but anything that becomes avarodha to the expansion of my chit, meaning my consciousness, has to be removed. So, yoga in another way is also about improving my consciousness so that with this improved, purified, and simplified consciousness, the result will be automatic oneness with the ultimate. And as we purify our consciousness, the first two steps of astanga yoga becomes very naturally appealing to such an individual. Yama means what not to do, to kill all the weaknesses. The great sage Patanjali, not for nothing, he used the first step with a name, Yama. Yama means Lord of Death. What are we supposed to kill as Yama? Our own weaknesses. That is the beginning step of yoga. That does not mean that we have to first have control over weaknesses. No. Let the first step be yoga so consciousness can appreciate what not to do and what to do. What to do comes under the field of yama. Then comes asanas. Asanas are all about how to make our physical body extremely flexible and energized. This kosha, avaran we call it, annamaya kosha, has to have balanced energy. The energy channels all throughout this annamaya kosha has to be harmonized and should remain in equilibrium. Anytime one falls sick, anytime one remains emotionally disturbed, it affects various koshas, not only annamaya kosha, but it will end up disturbing manomaya kosha, vijnanmaya kosha, pranamaya kosha. All koshas are disturbed. And finally, what becomes of the anandamaya kosha, it also remains disturbed. But if we have the mastery over manomaya kosha, vijnanmaya, I think we can progress on the outermost koshas as well as the innermost kosha. In Swami Vivekananda's terminology, we call it moving into superconsciousness and submerging our awareness into subconscious field. Pratyahara is all about focusing our attention on what is relevant, what is important to us. Withdrawing our attention from the outworld into what matters, the heart, the feelings of the heart. And with those feelings, retaining a chain of those feelings, the idea, not just now and then, like the drops of water. Kabhi you had one thought, then another thought, then or one assumption, another assumption, or one feeling, and after some time the same feeling repeats, and after 2-3 hours the same feeling appeals. That is not dhara. That is not the stream. That is not dhara. Continuous flow of the feelings one carries in one's heart. And only when I am able to retain this feeling as a dhara, as one continuous stream, I can remain absorbed in dhyan. And ultimately, God willing, we attain more and more improved and more refined states of samadhis. Anyway, India is all about such advancements, and it's not just a new thing. India has been priding on this one fundamental principle, which says, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu nirama. You all know this, that may all be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, and may no one suffer. This is the innate culture, innate ideology, the fundamental principle we are taught from our childhood. We seek peace, not just for Indians, not just for Hindus, but the people of all religions, all nations, and perhaps if we extend our ideas throughout the universe, the manifested universe. Our sages also talks about, may there be peace all throughout this manifested as well as unmanifested invisible universe. May there be peace. We have such a lofty goal. Let's make advancement. Our beloved Prime Minister Modi ji has launched this International Day of Yoga every year, June 21st. And it started in 2014. It's a wonderful thing. It has become a household name. Like scientists, I invite one and all to see that if asanas can be done, pranayams can be done, and see what difference does it make in our day-to-day life. Later on, after 1 month of such a practice, incorporate dhyana leading to samadhi, meditation leading to high level of superconsciousness. And not just ordinary meditation, but meditation that is supported by yogis of caliber who can transmit their essence, the essence of the source. Pranasya pranaha. We are all too familiar with the energy required by this Annamaya Kosha, the Bhautik Sarir. We are also familiar with the energy required for Manomaya, Vijnanmaya and Pranamaya Koshas, our subtle body or the Sukshma Sarir. But hardly any one of us pay the attention to this Anandamaya Kosha, the Karan Sarir. When we do pay attention to this Karan Sarir, the cause of all, then we will be able to appreciate this pranahuti, pranasya pranaha, one that enriches this prana. One would wonder, why would prana need to be nourished? But let your experiments begin and prove it to yourself that see how one can really become joyful in our everyday mundane life. Yoga is not just about closing eyes and twisting your organs, your limbs in an acrobatic way. No, it's much more than that. These days, once again appreciating the efforts of the Prime Minister of India, we have moved into 170 countries where it is being practiced, from Dehradun to Durban, from Shanghai, China to Chicago, USA, from Jakarta, Indonesia to Johannesburg, South Africa. It is also very encouraging to note that Pakistan, our beloved brother, also is getting yoga-centric. Mr. Samsad Haider is also known as popularly in Pakistan as Ramdev of Pakistan. Even in Saudi Arabia, once upon a time, there was no room for such practices. But India did recognize one lady, I don't have her name at the moment in my head, but she was recognized and she is thriving well. For practicing such a thing, she was jailed for many, many years. But again, as the understanding of yoga expands in the world, it has become more and more acceptable. One would dream to see a day when yoga can also become part of Olympics. Our schools across India can also enjoy yoga as sports. May there be statewide competition, may there be national competition. Sports is the way how to encourage our youth to embrace and accept something which is unique, something that can contribute to their individual welfare. And I would also like to propose, if bureaucrats, politicians are listening to this talk, maybe today, maybe later in the future, may such a day also can become a sports day, yoga sports day worldwide, on an auspicious occasion of Patanjali's birthday or Modiji's birthday. And those who are having connection can spread this world, spread the word that this either of this day can become the yoga sports day at an international level. See?